Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. I'm Bartholomew Hall. Here are your top stories on Friday the 11th of July. A sky of smoke, black smog seen for miles as Medway Recycling Centre goes up in flames.
We have surrounded the fire. It's very much under control now. We are continuing to work with on-site staff to break up the stack and extinguish the fire.
Cut off. South East Water customers under hosepipe ban after driest spring in 130 years.
We need everybody to work together to reduce demand to make sure we don't see any issues in the environment or with customer supplies.
And swinging for success, Chatham Primary School encourages pupils to get active for annual Healthy Living Week.
I think it's important to educate them young to understand that physical activity keeps the mind and soul as healthy as the body.
But first this evening, a pillar of thick black smoke has taken over the skies of North Kent today as part of a recycling centre at Medway City Estate caught fire. Crews were at the scene from 6 o'clock this morning fighting the flames with multiple fire engines, but the cause of the burning plastic is still unknown. Finn McDermid has the story.
All across Medway this morning, many woke up to plumes of thick black smoke covering the sky that could be spotted from as far away as Canterbury. Fire crews were on the scene from 6 in the morning and soon discovered the source, a plastic disposal area at the Viridor Recycling Centre in Medway's City Estate Business Park. The cause of the fire isn't yet known, but even at its peak, when it was blocking out the sun in parts of the estate, nearby companies said it was mostly business as usual.
At first, it was panic. Around 6 a.m, one of my members of staff, one of my coaches, messaged me a video of loads of black smoke coming from Medway City Estate. So the atmosphere is a little bit more different than normal. It's very quiet at this part of the estate. It seemed a lot of panic getting in, whether we could, get in and out of the estate right, but business as usual at the moment. So it hasn't been too traumatic for the business getting people in and out of the gym.
Even commuters travelling on nearby motorways spotted the smoke.
Yeah, so I was taking my missus to work this morning, driving up the M25. As I was coming out of Gillingham, where I live, literally just down the road, we see the smoke just across from where Dockside is. We were driving through past the Medway Tunnel, looked to the left-hand side, and you can just see this big smoke just erupting. Yeah, I decided to drive down to Medway City Estate to see what was actually going on. I was able to walk onto the site. All the workers are just sat there with, well, nothing to do, I'm assuming. And you can still see the fire coming out of the concrete square where it's coming from.
Hours later, the fire was almost fully extinguished, with the pillar of thick black smoke getting smaller and lighter. Now, even though the fire has been greatly diminished, you can see it is still burning. There are still fire crews, and Kent Fire and Rescue Service are saying that people still need to stay safe and cautious.
Okay, so approximately 6 a.m. this morning, crews were called to reports of a fire within the recycling centre behind me. They were met with quite a severe, well-established fire. At the height of the incident, we had 6 fire engines and a height vehicle attend. That's currently now sitting at 4 fire engines and a height vehicle. We have surrounded the fire. It's very much under control now. We are continuing to work with on-site staff to break up the stack and extinguish the fire.
Now that the fire has almost been extinguished, thanks to the efforts of the emergency services, Medway's skies have returned to a nice clear blue. Finn McDermid for KMTV.
Well, Finn joins us here in the studio now. Finn, what's the latest update this evening?
Well, Kent Fire and Rescue Service, just about an hour ago, said the advice to keep windows and doors closed due to smoke in the area of Clipper Close in Rochester remains in place. They said that 5 fire engines and a height vehicle, which we all saw there, remain in attendance at the incident. Crews are using main jets and ground monitors to contain the fire, and they are making good progress to extinguish the flames. They also advise anyone to share this information with any loved ones in the area who might be affected but don't have access to the internet.
Well, look, residents across Medway and parts of North Kent today have been getting used to the sight of this thick black smog covering the skies, but you were actually there at the scene. What was it like at the peak of the fire today?
It was very surreal. When I first got down there, you couldn't get directly to the fire simply because of safety concerns, and there was sort of wisps of flame that were just coming up over this one fence, and at one point the sun was almost entirely blocked out by that thick black smoke. And there was also just ash in the air. I mean, it sort of stuck to your clothes, to your skin. So it was very interesting, and the smell as well, because it was of course burning plastic. You could really feel the smell right away. But the atmosphere as I was there wasn't actually that sort of stark. Everyone was still getting along with work. They knew that the fire service were handling it. I spoke to many people who simply said, yep, I'm just carrying on with my work, because there were so many businesses obviously in that area. Yeah,
of course, Medway City Estate, it is a very busy place. We know that it can sometimes be clogged up with traffic and stuff. Did you see any issues with traffic today?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there was definitely issues with traffic. As I was trying to leave, you had a lorry trying to go out one way, another lorry trying to come in, and it was all very congested. But there were also periods of quiet, and the fire service were great. They were sort of spread out across all the different roads that led to where the specific point in the recycling centre. So they were handling that fine, and it was quite open on that Clipper Close road there.
Yeah, and just tell us when we can expect the fire to be fully extinguished. What have they told you?
They've said, officials have said that they will try and get it fully extinguished as soon as possible. They haven't got an exact day, or sorry, an exact hour, but it's believed it should be later this evening.
OK, Finn, well, thank you very much for those details. I'm sure there'll be plenty more updates throughout the evening and the weekend over on Kent Online. Next, the A20 near Maidstone has temporarily closed again after announcements yesterday that investigations into the police shooting of Sean O'Mara will continue. Well, it marks the 4th time the road has been shut since the incident on the 7th of July, with explosive ordnance disposal teams at the site. Well, since Monday, 4 suspicious devices have been found by police, while O'Mara remains in hospital after he was shot whilst approaching police with a suspected explosive device and a chainsaw. Well, Kent Police says that motorists are advised to find alternative routes until further notice. Following recent antisocial behaviour in the Isle of Thanet, another dispersal order has been issued for the district. In June, instances of violence, aggression and loitering in Margate, Ramsgate and Broadstairs meant multiple orders were given throughout the month. Well, a dispersal order means police are able to move anyone aged 10 or over from the area if they can be considered as causing disruption. The measures for July came into force at 2 p.m. today and will last 48 hours. Record-breaking demand for drinking water has led to temporary hosepipe bans across Kent for households supplied by South East Water. The ban aims to protect essential water use and the environment. South East Water says it's monitoring the weather, reviewing the ban regularly and working hard to fix leaks. Kristen Hawthorne has more.
South East Water have announced a hosepipe ban starting today. This will be enforced from the 18th of July. It's due to an increased demand of drinking water, as Kent saw 2 heat waves causing record high temperatures.
Due to the consistently hot and dry weather, South East say that the demand for water is the highest that they've ever seen, exceeding the summer average by 105 million. This is enough to provide water to another 4 towns the size of Maidstone.
And I would just remind people, this is about preserving the precious resource of drinking water that we've got, and we can talk about enforcement and things like that, but really the message is, we need everybody to work together to reduce demand, to make sure we don't see any issues in the environment or with customer supplies.
I went to Snodland, where South East Water is based, to speak to the public and find out what they thought about the ban and whether or not they would tell on a neighbour using a hosepipe.
I suppose it's necessary. We're short of water. It's been dry time since forever. So, yeah, we've got to try and save water so we don't run out.
I think if it's causing a health risk to other people and you're not allowed to use something that's technically someone's right, which is a bit of water, I think it's a bit not ideal, really.
Not ideal, but we just have to get on with it, don't we? And, if the money was invested in the right places, we had the right people in charge, it wouldn't happen.
No. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. No. Never been a grass in my life. It's not the way I do things.
Probably not, no. It's none of my business. I wouldn't get an argument with them, and if they really need it, they really need it.
It's not yet known when the ban will be lifted, but with another amber heat health alert announced for Kent, this ban may not be the last. Otherwise, taps could run dry. Kristen Hawthorne for KMTV, Snodland.
Well, staying with our recent warm weather, much of southern England, including Kent, is now under an amber heat health alert, rising from the yellow one, which was put in place yesterday. Issued at midday today, it will be in place until 9 a.m. on Monday, the 14th of July. So if you are planning to head out in the sun over the weekend, do make sure you're staying nice and safe and drinking lots of water. With that said, let's take a look at what the forecast looks like for the coming days. Well, tonight's looking rather warm with clear night skies and temperatures up to 20 degrees in Dartford, some low wind speeds too. As we go into tomorrow morning, temperatures rising a bit to an average of 21 degrees across the county. And as we go towards the afternoon, temperatures ranging from 20 degrees all the way up to 27 with winds hitting 11 miles per hour. Here's your outlook: highs of 27 degrees on Sunday and Monday, dropping to 23 on Tuesday, with partly cloudy weather expected across the board. It is looking like it'll be a very nice weekend if you are planning to go out. Time for a break now, but coming up we'll have all the latest health headlines with Dr. Julian Spinks. We'll also have advice on how to keep cool and how to keep an eye on loved ones during the heatwave as resident doctors vote to go on strike at the end of the month. We'll be hearing about the ripple effect it'll have across the health service. All that and plenty more news just for Kent coming up after this very short break. I'll see you in a minute. Bye-bye.
Hospital visits will be dramatically reduced.
And there's something about time in Imagining Autism, I call it a nowhere.
I completely adapted to being a hidden away rural homeless person. The system can't and doesn't cope with rural homelessness at all.
And I think that's a big barrier to young disabled people in terms of their aspirations and accessing science.
I think the Equiparakeet is a great symbol for what we should be doing on Mauritius, what we can do elsewhere in the world.
This is like a picture of me and my cousins when we was in Albania back to my nan's house.
Mirë, vëmë tek me menu me menjen tonë edhe me pa momentin e dur që kur më ik edhe policisë.
The Kent Politics Show, live on KMTV. Join us every week with an array of guests.
I think the boundary changes have changed a great deal in Kent.
The Conservative administration have delivered the lowest council tax in Kent. We will continue to do that.
Discussing the things that matter most to you.
People do feel like they've been ignored by this government.
We do need something else to supplement wind and solar.
Catch the Kent Politics Show, only on KMTV.
Become a Kent Online subscriber for unlimited access to award-winning journalism from across the county. Browse the premium version of our website with no intrusive ads for uninterrupted scrolling on your desktop, mobile or tablet. Enjoy unrivaled coverage of news, sport and leisure in Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section and head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster and the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including specialist Gills reporting. Enjoy weekly digital editions of all KM titles and swipe for the same page-turning experience as the newspaper. Download, share and print out the pages you want and tackle fun puzzles such as crosswords and Sudoku. Plus, unlock our extensive archive of past papers stretching back more than 10 years. Becoming a subscriber is easy. Visit kentonline.co.uk and click the subscribe tab at the top right of the screen. Choose the package that suits you with options to pay monthly or annually. Once you've signed up, check your email for a thank you message from us and details on how to get the most out of our subscription. Kent Online, news you can trust.
Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight live on KMTV. Resident doctors in England have said they will strike for 5 days from the 25th of July, and the government is urging supermarkets to change layouts to boost healthy habits. Well, it's time for your health headlines with our health expert, Dr. Julian Spinks. Julian, welcome back to the sofa.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Look, it's hot. Not our first heat wave this summer, not the hottest, but what's the general advice for people?
Well, number one, keep an eye on what the weather forecast says, because if it is going to be hot, there are things you can do to prepare. And for example, at home, you can open your windows overnight when it's cooler and then shut them when the sun comes up. Likewise, shutting the curtains on the sunny side of the house, which may mean switching things around. And that can keep the temperature in the house down. The really critical things also are to do with fluids, so making sure you have plenty of fluids. And whilst it's tempting to have lots and lots of nice cold lagers, in reality too much alcohol is dehydrating, so make sure you have some non-alcoholic drinks. There are times of the day when you shouldn't be going out if you can avoid it, so between 11 and 3, that's when it's hottest, also you're most likely to burn. And finally, what we need to be doing is keeping an eye out for our neighbours, particularly those who are housebound or bedbound, or if you have a relative like that, make sure they're being able to get fluids and do that sort of thing, because they may not be able to get up and get that fluid.
Of course, those warnings and that advice also sort of plays into this amber heat health alert that we've got in force at the moment. As a GP in primary care, how often are you seeing these heat waves that we're having, these high temperatures, actually impact the work that you do, and having patients come to you affected by it?
I'm pleased to say not as much as you might imagine, but we do get the odd person we end up admitting, particularly if we think they have heat stroke. And of course we have lots of people who get sunburnt and come to us thinking we can fix it, but that's very tricky. I think the main message is that if you can take steps to protect yourself, you're not going to run into difficulties, and you can enjoy the hot weather, because we all want people to enjoy life.
Absolutely, that's the key takeaway. OK, let's move on to the doctor strikes now. Resident doctors, formerly known as junior doctors in England, have said they will strike for 5 days from the 25th of July after voting in favour of fresh action over pay. Can you take us through what this means?
Yes, and it's a long-running dispute which everyone thought was pretty much solved with previous offers. Their actual pay has slipped further and further behind over time, and the BMA suggests they're still 29% below, or they need a 29% increase to bring them back to where they were. There is dispute from the government as to whether that's the case. It's all to do with the RPI or the CPI way of judging inflation. But they are still very worried, and the junior doctors voted to strike, and it met the actual threshold for that, although it was a relatively low turnout versus the previous time. It means 5 days worth of strike. There will be cover. Either covered by junior doctors who are not BMA members and have decided not to strike, or by more senior doctors. But it's the routine things, the operation admissions and that side, means that won't happen, and it will probably extend waiting lists even further.
And just quickly, what sort of impact could this have on patients if they need to go and see their GP or go to A&E?
I think that actually the safety is less of a problem than the fact that it's going to extend waiting time. So people are already waiting a long time. It's going to push it back further.
OK, I want to move on to our final topic very quickly. Food businesses and supermarkets must make it easier for customers to buy healthy food under new government plans. What do you think? Will this work?
I think that it's one of those nudge factors that can make a difference. When I go out shopping, it's actually often quite difficult to find food that's suitable for me. I'm diabetic, and that's mostly the healthy stuff everyone else should be eating. And sometimes the layout can be not very helpful, because you'll have to choose your fruit and vegetables before you get to know what you're buying otherwise. So that sort of thing can make a difference. You've got the famous sweets and things at the checkout, which tempt you to go for unhealthy things. I think we've got to allow people to be able to do some unhealthy things, but at the same time, we need to give them the opportunity to make those changes which are healthier.
It seems like it's the sort of sequel to the calories being put on restaurant menus, for example.
Yes, it allows you to judge what's good and what's bad. It points in the direction of the things that are healthier, rather than sort of us pushing hard and saying, you mustn't eat this, you've got to do that.
Julian, thank you very much for joining us this week. Well, speaking of food habits, a primary school in Chatham is hosting its Healthy Living Week, designed to encourage children not only to eat well, but to get active too. Swingate Primary holds the event every year, and this time pupils enjoyed playing football and trying martial arts. Teachers hope that the tradition ensures students leave their lessons with physical and mental confidence and discover new hobbies outside the school gates. Our community reporter Henry Luck has more.
We all remember our school sports days, but what about a sports week? That's exactly what Springate Primary School in Chatham are embracing here as part of their Healthy Living Week. Swingate's Healthy Living Week has officially kicked off. Let's go around and see what's on offer. From basketball, dancing and martial arts, the aim of this week is to get children to try as many sports as possible.
I think it's important to educate them young to understand that physical activity keeps the mind and soul as healthy as the body. So it's important to encourage them to take part in physical activity every day and try to make it as fun as possible so they can carry on that without the support of other clubs in the community, and they can take that initiative to keep playing and have fun outside school as much as is in school.
For some of the volunteers, the Healthy Living Week allowed them to reflect on their own journeys.
So my situation is a little bit different. So my parents actually started up the school, and they thought it'd be a really good idea for obviously me to try it. So I did. And when they were 18, that's when they gave me a choice of whether I wanted to carry on. And because of all the stuff it had done to help me in my life and tons of aspects which it really came in handy, I thought I might as well keep on with it. I've done it this long and I might as well carry on.
Swingate Primary has been running this tradition for 4 years now and are keen to keep up its success.
So we have had really good results. So recently we were really lucky to win the Medway Sport Primary School of the Year, and we were actually the reigning winners of that. We won it previously a couple of years ago, so we're really proud of that. We've also just won our quadruple School Games Mark Gold, which we're really proud of, which you win those things because you are providing a variety of physical opportunities for your children and making sure that we are encouraging all that movement and trying different activities and sports.
Even if there are winners, the main purpose of the Healthy Living Week is to keep pupils active long after they graduate and teach them it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. Henry Luck for KMTV in Chatham.
Now, don't forget, you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website, kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all of our reports, including this one about a big band in Mini Margate on the small stage.
It was a rock star entrance for one of Britain's biggest bands, now also one of Margate's smallest, as they came to visit a Hornby tribute at the station ahead of their headline Dreamland set.
Big station, you've got millions of people pass through here every summer. So we thought, let's do it, but let's kind of localise it. Let's make it a miniature version of Margate. So it's all brilliant, but one thing that was missing was a band to go on the stage. And obviously there's lots of great acts that play here every summer. And we thought, who would be the best band? And Libertines was a no-brainer for us because obviously their local connection.
The Likely Lads have become local heroes here in the coastal town, with members making Thanet their home throughout the years.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think they've caught it. The sort of, the little furrowed brow and the grey stubble. Yeah, I'm very impressed. Hornby, like Margate itself, is stuff of British legend. Do you know what I mean? So it's a no-brainer, really. It's absolute joy and an honour.
Every single person in the Dreamland replica has been scanned in a machine just like the one behind me, including the Libertines themselves. And I want to give it a go because while I may not be a rock star, I still think I can add a little bit of something to the town. It's time to take a very quick look at the results of the scan. And as you can see, you get all the details, the wrinkles, the pattern of my shirt. They used 105 different cameras to get this level of fidelity. And while I may want them to slightly trim down my belly in post, if it's good enough for the Libertines, it's good enough for me.
They're absolutely fantastic. We scanned them back in Bath. Clearly have such a love for music. They kept wanting to play their instruments while they were being scanned.
Yeah, it was amazing. They seem like such lovely people.
But the boys in the band had a busy day ahead of them, with not only a sold-out show, but also a big day down on the football pitch.
I've now officially signed semi-professional papers for Margate FC. So I'll be making my semi-professional debut, down at the gate.
What's your training regimen for it?
I've cut down on cigarettes. I'm only on 1 pack a day, and just a few touch your toes and like star jumps, and then quick burst on the aspirin inhaler, and I'll be away. Yeah.
The miniature railway set will be at the station all summer, a suitable tribute for a band known for going off the rails and then getting back on track. Ollie Leader in Margate.
Evening, a reminder you can watch back tonight's episode of the Kent Politics Show on demand at kmtv.co.uk, where you can catch analysis of reform spending announcements at KCC, including news that the local authority will demand 500 members of its staff to give up working from home. And if you want more politics, well, you just have to listen to the Kent Politics podcast, available at Kent Online or wherever you get your podcasts. You can keep up to date with all the latest political news, views and analysis with our Kent Politics Briefing too, which drops into inboxes every Friday. All you need to do is search Kent Online email alerts and sign up online for those newsletters. Well, you've been watching Kent Tonight live on KMTV. There's more news made just for Kent throughout the evening. Don't forget, you can always keep up to date on our website, kmtv.co.uk. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.